Welcome to Throw It Down NBA Pod. I'm Julius.
I'm Brian.
And today we're going to be talking about the Rudy Gobert trade that happened this offseason, as well as some other Timberwolves moves.
Yeah.
Okay, so Woj and Shams reported quite a bit ago on this trade. So the Utah Jazz agreed to trade center Rudy Gobert to the Minnesota Timberwolves in a blockbuster deal that will pair him with fellow All-Star big man Karl Anthony Towns, sources told ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski. So the Timberwolves got sent quite a package for Rudy Gobert. They sent Malik Beasley, Patrick Beverley, Jared Vanderbilt, Leandro Bolmaro, the number 22 pick in this last draft, Walker Kessler, and 4 first-round picks to the Jazz. Utah gets unprotected first in 2023, 2025, 2027, and a top 5 protected pick in 2029. Danny Ainge, who is in charge of basically the Utah Jazz, made this deal, and he's known for fleecing teams, so that's what this may be. So the Timberwolves, their current roster it's pretty depleted now. They traded a ton of depth, but an underrating signing they did was sign basically small forward or guard/forward, 28-year-old 6'9" Kyle Anderson, also known as Slow-Mo.
Slow-Mo?
Yes, that's his nickname. He looks like he plays in slow motion.
That's it? Oh, that's tough. All right.
Yeah, his jump shot is like... gotta power that up.
Like yours?
No. Slower, much slower.
All right.
So, Timberwolves, they still have D'Angelo Russell. They still have Anthony Edwards. They still have Karl Anthony Towns, of course. They have Rudy Gobert now. They signed a bunch of other vets like Austin Rivers, Bryn Forbes, shooters, guards, basically not really that good, but still rotation level NBA players. They have 6'9" center Naz Reid, 22. He's got shooting potential. His three-point percentage for his career is 34%. Good for a big man, but last postseason, he played 10 minutes per game and shot 43% from 3.
Well, he averages 8 points per game.
He's a backup center.
Oh, that's tough. All right.
He's a pretty good backup center, especially shooting-wise. So their depth chart is decent.
What exactly is a depth chart anyways?
Depth chart is like a chart of people's depth.
That's... Oh, all right. It's crazy.
What do you want me to say?
I'd like you to explain what a depth chart is.
Okay, so basically, you see the positions?
Mm-hmm.
The 5 positions?
Yeah.
Basically, it shows you, like, who's starting, who's second, who's third, fourth, fifth tier.
There we go.
So, like, Timberwolves starting point guard, D'Angelo Russell.
Mm-hmm.
Backup is Jordan McLaughlin. CBS Sports is what we're using for this depth chart. They have third as Austin Rivers, fourth Jalen Noel, and fifth McKinley Wright, the fourth. At shooting guard, they have Anthony Edwards starting. Second tier is probably Austin Rivers. Third tier, they got some barely rotation NBA players, usually young guys. Small forward, CBS Sports reports that they're probably going to start Jaden McDaniels. He is pretty tall, lanky, good shooter, good on defense. He was very valuable in the playoffs last year against the Grizzlies.
That sounds like me.
Backup, Kyle Anderson. He could start easily. Just depends on the matchup. If they want to go bigger, they could go Kyle Anderson. He's pretty big. Or Jaden McDaniels. He's pretty long and lanky too. They also have Taurean Prince, who they re-signed. They got players like C.J. Ellaby, Anthony Edwards can play shooting guard or small forward if needed for a lineup. Probably not going to happen unless they move D'Angelo Russell down to the 2, which is going to be food defensively because he is not good. Power
not
forward,
good?
pretty terrible.
Oh.
D'Angelo Russell's terrible on
Dang.
defense.
See, no, I wouldn't take that. All right.
Power forward, they got Karl Anthony Towns and Kyle Anderson. So their first 2, Karl Anthony Towns, 6'11". He played center last year. He won last year's 3-point contest pretty handily. His score was really high. He shoots 39.7% from 3.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's
Dang.
really good.
How many points does he average? It's record setting too.
Yeah, in the final round of the 3-point contest last year, Cats got 29 points, which is really good. He beat out Trae Young and Luke Kennard.
Really good? It said it's record setting.
Yeah, okay, that's really, really good. That's great.
You could just say it's record setting.
Godly, okay?
Whatever.
Trey and Luke both put up 26, which is also very good. So, Cat was amazing. Let's look at some of Karl Anthony Towns' stats. That's what you asked for. Let's go to the big boy. Okay. 2021, Cat averaged in the regular season 24 points per game, 52% from the field, 10 rebounds, 3.5 assists. Then in the postseason, his minutes went up by 4 from 33.5 to 37.
Was that last year?
Yeah, these were the standings.
Oh my gosh, they did good.
Yeah, they're...
What happened? I forgot who they got kicked out by.
They lost to... so the Timberwolves lost to the Grizzlies in the second round. They lost in 6, but it was a really close series.
Okay.
A couple made shots in a game or two, and they could have won in 5.
Ja has no hops. Anyways.
In the postseason, his scoring went down to 22 points per game. His field goal percentage went down to 48%. His rebound went up to 11, and his assists went down. They finished with a 46-36 record last year. Pretty good, especially for a team from Minnesota. Historically poverty.
Dang.
Have not won any. They barely made the. Last time they made the playoffs was 2018, and before that it was the Kevin Garnett era, which was early 2000s.
I was about to say they barely made the playoffs.
Yeah.
They had the top 3 record this year, though. Or was that last year?
No, they didn't. They were the 6th seed. They were the 6th seed.
That chart was the 6th seed? Where was it?
They were the 6th seed. Okay, trust me.
All right, whatever.
They were the 7th seed, actually. I was wrong. Because they beat the Clippers in the play-in.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so then at center, you have Rudy Gobert, Naz Reid. Rudy Gobert is Rudy Gobert. He carried the Jazz almost every single year to a top 10 defense in the league. 7 foot tall, muscular center. Not much offensive game. Basically just a roll man. But when you're 7 feet tall and your wingspan is insanely long, all you got to do is roll and catch lobs.
That's about to be me, bro.
D'Angelo Russell, pretty good at passing to lobs, so that should be a good tandem. Also at center, they could play Karl Anthony Towns if they want to go, quote, small.
Small ball.
From 7'2" to 6'11", go small. Karl Anthony Towns, great shooter. So let's get back to the trade. They sent Malik Beasley, good shooter. Patrick Beverley, good defender.
All right, so what I want to know is how this trade is actually going to help. If it's successful, how it's going to help the Timberwolves. Since the way you make it sound it sounds like it's pretty good already.
Okay, so it's a major gamble because they traded basically four unprotected first round picks.
Mm-hmm.
But they made the playoffs last year. Pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
You expect Anthony Edwards to take another leap because he's already at an insane level. So if he jumps from what he is right now to an all-star next year and be the best player, he can be the offensive juggernaut they need, and he's tall and quick. So if he's like average on defense, insane on offense, along with D'Angelo Russell, good on offense. So offensively, they were pretty gifted. They were the 13th best defense last year, but it was pretty up and down. And they were only 2 points per 100 possessions lower than league average.
Still using this? All right. Just wanted to check, like, if they get Donovan, right, he'll move into shooting guard.
Well, Minnesota can't get Donovan.
No?
No. The Jazz are trading Donovan, so different team. So, the Wolves also traded Jared Vanderbilt, young, good rebounder, good defender. So, he was a basic shooting liability, shooting like very bad from three. So basically they put him in the dunker spot when they played him with Karl Anthony Towns. I think they could do that with Rudy Gobert as well, so they don't have to stagger them as much. Also, Karl Anthony Towns is, like we said before, an amazing three-point shooter.
Mm-hmm.
So if you put him in a corner and then you run pick and roll with like Anthony Edwards, who's becoming a better passer, Rudy Gobert, amazing dunker, and then Karl Anthony Towns, you can get an advantage almost anywhere. You can get Ant isoing against a big man. You could get Rudy against a guard.
Mm-hmm.
Or you could get Cat attacking a closeout, which he's amazing at attacking. Because 6'11", fast, strong, he'll pump fake, run through, and like do some floaters, some insane layup, or just post try someone.
Never really seen Karl Anthony Towns with that many highlights, honestly.
Well, it's because he's from Minnesota, and no one really cares about Minnesota that much because,
Yeah, like you said, they're in poverty.
yeah, pretty historically bad team. So I think, predictions, Rudy Gobert will almost definitely carry them to a top 10 defense. Only worry is the playoffs and the offensive fit. I think the offensive fit is overblown. They should do well.
Mm-hmm.
The playoffs is where it's trouble because past years Rudy Gobert has been baked alive on the defensive end. Series against the Clippers 2 years ago in the second round, they were up. Then they blew it when Terrence Mann decided to go from 31% from three to 40% from three, being guarded by Rudy Gobert.
How?
Quinn Snyder just had Rudy Gobert because Terrence Mann was not a good three-point shooter. Rudy Gobert just sat in the paint to guard because that's what he does best.
Yeah.
So basically, the Jazz just funneled. Their defensive plan was just funnel everyone to Gobert, and he'll just go and block them, which works pretty well because they have had amazing defenses since he's been there. But then Terrence Mann decided to become a flamethrower from three, and he just rained down. Him and Reggie Jackson combined for like 60 points in one of the games, and they are two role players. So without Kawhi, the Clippers beat them to make it to the Western Conference Finals. Last year, Rudy Gobert was cooked by Jalen Brunson. Jalen Brunson, little fast 6'1" guard. He will post people up. His hezzy in the paint is amazing.
Hosting at 6'1"?
Yes, he's amazing post-up game.
Gosh.
He went to the Knicks, but when he was on the Mavs, he was cooking. Rudy, defensively, he had him spinning, turning around. He could do whatever he want and get to the rim.
All right.
So that's where Rudy struggles against fast guards and then people just deciding to hit all their wide-open threes.
So basically, the offense is kind of useless unless it's... So basically, they're banking on the team to not have good three-point shooters.
Kind of. Because that's what you got to do with Rudy. You put him on the worst three-point shooter.
Yeah.
Put him in the paint. Block everything. And then if you... Say someone shot 30% from three.
Mm-hmm.
That's better than like a layup, which is 50-60%. So Rudy erases that layup, but if you get the three, it's not that bad because they're a bad three-point shooter.
How often do they win against the Warriors?
The Wolves?
Warriors.
Like the Wolves?
Yeah.
I think they won one game in the season series last year. But that's because Andrew Wiggins turns into prime Michael Jordan against any former team he's played. He goes crazy against the Wolves and the Cavs.
All right, so...
And the Lakers, because LeBron.
How does Rudy Gobert, like, on his old team, did he run, like, the same sort of defensive thing?
Oh, yeah. Defensively...
So, yeah, they're just banking on bad three-point shooters. So, like, that's what I want to know. Like, on former teams, how did they deal with the Warriors?
Well, you could put him on Kevon Looney, and Kevon Looney's not a good three-point shooter. You could put him on Draymond. Draymond's not a good three-point shooter. Thing is, Warriors have Steph Curry, and Draymond goes and sets a screen for Steph Curry, and then Steph Curry just rains it.
Exactly. So how do they guard that?
Exactly. They don't really have the people. So that's the defensive struggles in the playoffs. But I think that the Wolves could easily be almost guaranteed. Without any injuries, they are guaranteed to be a playoff team.
Okay.
That's what I'm predicting. Guaranteed playoff team. But I think they could be a top 5 seed easily. And at most, they could be a top 3, second best regular season team in the Western Conference.
Against who? Who are they competing against?
The Western Conference.
Yeah.
So it's the regular season. Rudy Gobert is an amazing regular season player. He carries teams' defense. Postseason is when it gets hard because offensive lock on to defensive liabilities and defenses lock in on offensive liabilities. It's a different environment. In the regular season, you're playing 82 games a year. You don't care as much. You don't try as hard. Rudy Gobert, Karl Anthony Towns, Anthony Edwards, D'Angelo Russell, Jaden McDaniels, Kyle Anderson. That, especially if they signed a couple more depth pieces, maybe make a trade or two with some young people for some vets. They could easily be looked at as contenders. They could win 60 games.
All right, who do you think is like the biggest threat to them?
Biggest threat, any team with shooting. So, the Warriors, Clippers, any team with a great small ball. And, yeah, so the Warriors, the Clippers, both look really good. I think they could get some revenge against the Grizzlies. That's a matchup I would love to see. Ja versus Ant. Ant getting better. Ja getting better. Kyle Anderson just left the Grizzlies for the Wolves.
Yeah.
You add that in. You have Ja always trying to dunk on Rudy Gobert, and Rudy Gobert usually blocking it because Rudy Gobert is an insane shot blocker. He's won like 3 Defensive Player of the Years over the last 5 years.
Wow. All right.
Yeah, he's like, if you looked at just the stats, he could be a Hall of Famer, but he's probably not. But insane defensive, like, basically think of what Harden was, Rockets Harden on offense. If you flip that around to defense, and that's Rudy Gobert. Harden was the system, Rudy is the system.
All right.
You funnel, like the Jazz had terrible perimeter defenders. You just funnel everyone in to Rudy Gobert. He takes care of it. And that was their entire game plan.
All right, so now that they have Rudy Gobert, how far do you think that like the Wolves can make? How far do you think they can make it into the playoffs? Like considering that they make the playoffs.
I think they should win their first round series, especially if it's against like the Kings or Blazers or whatever. They should dominate that series. When it gets to the second round, it's going to get a lot harder. Because if they play the Grizzlies, Warriors, Clippers, maybe even the Suns might do well because the Suns have some pieces still, even though they just flamed out against the Mavs.
Got you cocky.
Yeah. So basically, against the top tier defenders of the West, that's where the problems come because those teams are either really good or they have great small ball lineups. Against anyone lower than I think the 6th seed, they shouldn't really have to worry about. Unless that team makes an insane trade mid-season, like if the Pelicans are terrible and they trade for KD, then the Wolves would have to look out for that.
Is KD a prospect for the Pelicans?
Oh, yeah.
Huh. Actually, I didn't know that.
That's another episode's topic. Yeah.
Another topic.
So basically, so you don't really keep up with the NBA like I do, but how would you grade this?
So based on the information that you've given me, it makes it sound like this is a really, really good chance for the Minnesota Timberwolves to like move up in the league. I'd say, yeah.
The argument against trading all those picks is that
Mhm.
they're trading a ton of draft capital, but
Right.
the Wolves aren't very good at drafting unless they have like the number 1 pick.
So it's definitely a really risky trade.
It is very risky, extremely risky, but the risk to reward ratio is pretty good. Like, do we honestly think the Timberwolves could draft a superstar better than Rudy Gobert in the next with those 4 picks?
No.
Because,
Alright,
look, Karl Anthony Towns is still going to be good by then.
Mhm.
Anthony Edwards is definitely going to be a superstar by then, so the picks won't be that good anyway.
Yeah.
And then if they good by like 29, they have top 5 protection on that. So worst things worse, they can keep their pick.
All right. So we're just saying all things go well and the trade's successful, and the team goes on to do like everything you said that it would.
Yeah.
I'd say that's like a B because, of course, they're moving up in the playoffs. The more chance to
Yeah,
do better
'cause
in the playoffs.
The Wolves have a different standard. When you're in Minnesota, you're not really looking to win a championship. Making the playoffs 2 years in a row is amazing
Yeah, that's why I consider it a B and not an A because,
because it's different standard.
yeah.
I think I'm gonna have to agree. I'll give it a. You convinced me. I was gonna give it a B minus, but I think a B is good because Minnesota has a different standard.
Yeah.
And if they meet that standard, that's amazing for new owner, A-Rod, and new ownership group. So,
Yeah, I'd say that concludes our episode for today. So
thanks for listening.
Thanks
Check
for
in
tuning
next time.
Yeah, I'll see you.
Bye.